This is your math gal, Julie Harland. Please visit my website at yourmathgal.com, where all of my videos are organized by topic. On this video, we're going to find the exact values for these three problems without using a calculator. So here's the first one. Find the exact value of sine of inverse sine of 1. So remember, what's inside of here we have to compute first, and that is actually going to be a real number or an angle, and we're going to write it as a real number. So we're looking for an angle where the sine is 1 in between negative pi over 2 and pi over 2. So if you want to think of that as an angle, you can say, or write, I'm going to think of this as x, okay? And I'm going to, and what we're saying is the x is an angle that has a sine of 1, right? So let's see, where would that be? Where's the sine 1 if you haven't memorized it? For where the cosine or sine is 1, that means it's one of these places here. Remember, the arc sine or the inverse sine goes in between negative pi over 2 and pi, and so we want the place where the sine or the y value is 1, right? So that is up here at pi over 2. Okay? So what I have now, simplifying that, remember, x is the real number, pi over 2. So this now becomes the sine of pi over 2. Okay? That was the x I was looking for, which I called the inverse sine of 1. Right, now we want the sine of pi over 2. Oh, well, that's easy. We already just happened to draw pi over 2 right here, and we look at the y value, and we get 1. Now let's read this a little bit differently. This is saying, what's the sine of an angle that has a sine of 1? That's like saying, what's the name of a person whose name is Julie? You would say, well, the name is Julie. So in this particular case, since you're finding the sine of an angle and it's telling you an angle that has that sine, it does happen to be the same number. If it were the other way around and you had the sine inverse on the outside, oftentimes it doesn't quite work out that way. Okay? So I always think it's better to actually simplify inside these parentheses first and go from there. Right, here's our next one, and this is the example I'm talking about. This is not saying find the cosine of an angle. This is saying find something in the range of 0 to pi. Okay? So our answer is going to be a positive number between 0 and pi. So I could tell right now the answer is not going to be this negative pi. So what do? We're going to simplify inside this parentheses. What's the cosine of negative pi? Well, let's draw it. Where's negative pi? It's going this way, right? And that ordered pair on the unit circle is negative 1, 0, and the cosine is the x-coordinate. So if I've simply simplified the cosine of negative pi, which is negative 1. Now I'm looking for an angle written as a real number whose cosine is negative 1. So now you're looking for an angle between 0 and pi. So it certainly can't be this one because that is going in the negative direction. Well, it happens to be in the same place, but now you're looking at it this way, right? You have to find an angle between 0 and pi, and that is actually pi, right at pi. So the answer here will be pi. Okay, is this like a little brain teaser for you? We're looking for an angle. So remember what this means. What angle in 0 to pi has a cosine of negative 1? See, that's really what you're looking for, and then you're writing the answer as a real number or in radians. So we did the first two. Let's do the third one. All right, so we're trying to find an angle. We're trying to find the tangent of an angle. Remember, this represents an angle theta, or you could call it x. We're trying to find the tangent of something, and that something has a tangent of 1. Well, in this case, does it make sense to you? That's going to have to be 1 when it's all said. It's like, again, like what I said, we're trying to find the name of somebody whose name is Tom. You would say, well, that's Tom. So this is a little bit different when you're asking for the tangent and it's already telling us what the tangent is. But how about we actually just do the steps inside first. So we want an angle in between negative pi over 2 and pi over 2, because that's how the arctangent or inverse tangent is defined, where the tangent is 1. Okay, since it's positive, we're talking quadrant 1 here. And hopefully you recognize that as the 45-degree angle, or pi over 4. So this is just pi over 4. So now I've got, what's the tangent of pi over 4? Well, you're going to be looking at exactly the same thing. The tangent's 1 over 1, and we get 1, just like we thought. This is your math gal, Julie Harland. Please visit my website at yourmathgal.com, where all of my videos are organized by topic.